Hello everybody, this is a Lamley Showcase slash preview. Showcase, this one and this one just hitting targets now. Preview is this one hitting targets later. These two I bought at Target today. This one I got from Mattel to preview for you. It is Hot Wheels 143 scale. There has been a lot of talk about these. They are finally hitting stores in the United States. Well, Targets in the United States. That's where I found these two today. I believe they're Target exclusives here. That's not the case in other markets. I know they're going to be released worldwide, but lots and lots of comments about these. In fact, I wanted your opinion. I'm getting your opinion today. Now I'm posting this video a little bit later, but I saw these in Target today, took a picture of them, said, hey, seeing these at Target, what's your opinion? And we got a ton of opinions, to the point that I actually saw these. I went and had a meeting a little bit later. I was like, you know what? We need to talk about this on YouTube. So I actually went back to Target. I actually left these and went back to Target and picked these up so that we could do a video about them today, because I want to talk about these. So tons of comments, you know, and a lot of good comments, like for reasons why people might like them, why they don't. There was a million reasons, a lot of talking points. Those that kind of do that whole, oh, they're just a bunch of crap and garbage. They're not, you know, they're not. And you know, the idea of them might be garbage, but I don't like comments like that. But other than a few like that, there were just a ton of good constructive comments about this. And I'll kind of walk through some of those, and then I'll give you my own thoughts. And I'll say this right out of the gate as we open these up, and we'll talk through these. Will I be collecting 143 Hot Wheels? No, because I don't collect 143. It's going to have to be a hard, fast rule for me. It doesn't mean I'm not open to these. It doesn't mean that I won't be impressed by them. Let's open these up and check it out. But I don't have room enough for the collection as it is now. That's why I've been purging part of the collection. And to add larger scale cars, that's just going to be hard. And that might be the case for a lot of you. 143 is definitely a risk taken by Mattel. This might be more for a worldwide audience because 143 is more popular in other markets. I know there's a lot of 143 collectors here. But pushing into this scale here in the United States might be, well, it is risky, because those of us who collect Hot Wheels are obviously used to the 164, you know, that range of scale, right? They're not exact 164. But let's talk about it. So let's do this instead of me just talking right now. Let's just kind of walk through these. Like I said, I bought both of these. They're being released in twos. We can walk through. In fact, let me just show this to you. A lot of glare here because this is not a protector. This is the actual packaging. Released in twos. This is the first two. 23 Corvette Z06 and the Lamborghini Countach LPI 800-4. There's a bunch of this. Obviously, there's that. This is actually a clamshell. Probably should have opened these prior to, but this is actually a clamshell that is taped together. And I'll just do this for this video, and then maybe later on I'll just cut them open if I do preview these. I honestly don't know if I'm going to continue to preview these, and it's not because I don't like them. It's just I like to keep most of what I do relevant to what I collect. That's why there's some brands that I don't showcase all the time. But this is a permanent clamshell. This gives you the opportunity, which I think is nice if you're talking about this size. We'll talk about the blister in a little bit, that you can actually just reseal these. So you get this piece of cardboard. It's a pretty thick, hefty piece of cardboard, which is nice. And then this actual like little holder that you can get the car. Let me just actually move this down so you can see it. So clamshell, and then there's this little piece of cardboard, right? So clamshell, done. We'll put that off to the side. And then we're used to these. We've kind of seen this kind of thing in other packaging before. So move that out of the way. And here is the model. So 143, this is the Corvette, as we said. And first off the bat, let's give impressions of the model itself. Let's not even talk about scale, just the model itself. It's got a good hefty weight to it. It's a metal base, metal chassis, rubber tires. They roll. They're attached, so they're not detached wheels, which sometimes in the scale I think you do see where, you know, so they're on an axle, or they're on like a, you know, a toy style axle. But you do have details, like you have the brake calipers behind the wheel, which looks nice. Obviously they're colored, so there's some nice detailing here. I would imagine, you know, and we'll put this on the turntable too, but we'll go close up on some of these. The details on this are very nice. I saw someone comment that they look like those cars that you see in the grocery store, and that was my thought too. I don't have those, I don't buy those. I have to think that these are definitely above and beyond that, but I mean, you guys will be the judges, especially those who buy them. We have obviously separate pieces for the headlights. They are detailed, you can tell that, which looks nice. Tail lights, same thing, detailed nicely. Little piece of dust to blow off there. That could be a little bit better there on the corner. Trying to scrutinize as much as I can just from a general sense, and then we'll go further. So that's, you know, I'm way close up, but again, when we're talking about the scale, as they get larger and larger, details matter and quality matters, right? The lines and everything else. It has a good feel to it. I've got my Dream Customs mat here. Does it roll? Yeah, it rolls, and it rolls pretty well. It has a toy, kind of a toy-like feel to it. It's very much realistic, but it doesn't feel flimsy. It doesn't feel like it's pieced to, like, you know, like it's got fragile pieces on it. So it's still, I think, falls within that Hot Wheels branding, you know, that it is definitely a toy, but it is very realistic. Now, so from a quality standpoint, everything else aside, scale, price, and everything else, this, outside of a couple of real close-up details, is actually pretty impressive. It has a nice feel to it, and I'm trying to be as fair as I can. Like, I think it's pretty well done. So that's the Corvette. Let's look at the Lamborghini, and then we'll preview, and I'll talk about this as I try and cut these open. So some of you were really bothered about the price, and I didn't know what to make of that, because when Phil talked, when we did this preview from the Hot Wheels convention, he talked about how this $25 relative to 143 scale is pretty good. And because I don't collect 143 scale, I don't know. And I've actually went on eBay, and I didn't find many things that were more expensive than these. So I don't know if that's entirely accurate. I obviously know there's a certain level of quality that some cars have. I know there's like ignition model, those are probably more expensive, but it seemed like the toy-like 143 scale models were around the same price or even a little bit cheaper. But I don't have them to compare with, so it's hard for me to say whether or not these are better quality. Now, the first thing I notice here is these wheels are fantastic. Super detailed. Obviously the brakes and the brake calipers are built into that too. You can see I didn't even kind of show the inside of the wheels. That's pretty well done, to be honest. That sound of the wheel has that larger scale kind of Tonka truck kind of feel to it. I almost feel like it needs to be a little smoother. Like, they roll well, but like just almost roll better like Hot Wheels wheels do, right? Just a little smoother. Maybe that's being a little too picky, and you guys could tell me if I'm a little off on that. Wheels look fantastic. I think this, in terms of detailing and everything else, is really nice. Tail lights, separate pieces, I believe so. Yeah, looks like it. Maybe they're tampoed on there. Can't tell. Again, really close up, there are some details that come out, but that you'd like to see better, right? See, that side has a few little markings. It's nice that I bought these from the store, so you can get a really good sense of really what they're looking like. And those are really close up. Interior looks cool, red interior. Looks like there's a lot of good details there. Let's look at the other side here. Hard to see through the window. No opening parts on these, but they are well detailed. It does look, I mean, there we got a lot of good details there. I can't tell if there's any more detailing, like if the dashboard is detailed out or anything like that. Engine is. It looks like it, at least. So there's the scrutiny, right, on these two. Are they worth $25? Well, that's for the 143 scale collectors to tell me if they are. At first, when people are saying, "Oh, 25 bucks, that's too expensive," I was ready to say, "Oh no, it's fine. It's 143 scale." But it doesn't look like cars in this scale at this level are that much more expensive, if even the same price. So that's one thing. They are Hot Wheels. That brand recognition is really strong. It does hold some value. So maybe that's one thing that Hot Wheels says. I saw MG Minis made a good comment, like that he left them on the pegs at that price. He would have bought them at $14.99, and maybe that's the more realistic price. Maybe that's the price that they should be at. So are they realistic? Yeah, they're super well detailed. The wheels are unique to the car. So the Corvette gets Corvette wheels and Lamborghini gets Lamborghini wheels. We'll look at the Mustang in a little bit. We know that there's some cool castings coming out. Obviously, there'll be some that are more popular than others, like the R34 Skyline that Phil previewed, at least the pre-production model. That will be popular. I think the Jeep could be popular with some because it's super detailed. There's a lot of like interesting pieces added to it. There's in there an AMG Mercedes coming out, a few other things. And it will be interesting to see where this goes. It'll be interesting to see if people are buying them. It'll be interesting to see if they sell better overseas because the collectors are used to the larger scale or not. I also think there's also something to be said about, well, before I get ahead of myself, and we'll start working on this Mustang. You can see the artwork here. This is number 3. In fact, you can see it's going to be released with the Jeep Wrangler 392 Rubicon, which I don't have. So we'll preview this, and if I get the Jeep, I'll definitely showcase it. But there were many of you that said I'm out, and those of you who said it's because it's garbage. I didn't listen to your comments, but I obviously did read them. But some of you, your main reason for not collecting them was scale. That's me. I'm not even going to have much of an open mind to it just because I just don't have any space for it. And even if I just love these, I just don't see how I'd get myself. Maybe a car here and there, a car that I really, really like, I might consider separate from my collection, something to have or to display. But that's about it, you know, so maybe here and there. I reserve the right to maybe change that opinion later, but I just don't see that happening. So for me, it's scale. So price doesn't even matter. If I really, really like these and I really, really wanted them, $25 is not crazy, especially when they're only releasing 2 at a time as opposed to like maybe 5 or 6 at a time. But so price, scale, or the price was another thing for some. Maybe they think it's too expensive. I also think there's something interesting about this. Some people said that these were rather boring. And I thought that was an interesting comment because I think that speaks to what a Hot Wheels collector is. I see a comment a lot, and hear me through on this. I'm going to start walking through the details in this so you can look at it while I talk. Some of you said these are boring. Well, if you look at these cars, they are very, very nice replicas of the real thing. The details are there. Headlights, I mean, there's no exaggeration on any point. This is not a Hot Wheels basic with big wheels in the back, small wheels in the front. They are trying to replicate the actual cars. And I think they've done a very nice job of this, scale and price aside. I think they are really, really well done. Phil Reelman's an excellent, excellent designer, and he's been around for a long, long time. But the comment on the boring thing, I think it talks about us as Hot Wheels collectors more than anything else. I think we are used to our cars, our toy cars or our collecting cars, having a little bit of personality. I see a lot of people making comments when I show a Hot Wheels car culture car or a basic saying, why would anyone collect that or buy that when they could go buy a perfectly replicated Mini GT or Tarmac Works or Auto World or something like that? And I think that's because sometimes, and it's not a knock on those brands, sometimes an exact replica just doesn't generate the excitement unless you actually really like that car. Now, I'm not saying that's a universal rule, but I think there is something about the design elements of a Hot Wheels car that are lost in this scale. When you're trying to do an exact replica, I almost wonder if a 1/43 scale, say, drag bus or a cool combi, or like kind of an exaggerated model like that might be a little more popular. Datsun wagon with, you know, flares and everything else. I don't know. It's not a fully formed thought, but it's something that I've thought about. Like, we may think we like a certain thing, but then we don't necessarily buy it as much. Would Mini GT sell in the stores as well? I think it will if it went to retail stores. But we Hot Wheels collectors seem to like a certain thing and like a certain kind of personality to these cars, which doesn't mirror, that doesn't mirror in these 143 exact replica cars. You have to really like the car because that's what you're getting. So again, I'll think through that thought, but hopefully you kind of understand what I'm saying. This Mustang is actually really nice. the base of this is fantastic. I think Phil said there were some changes he was making to it when he showed the pre-production. So guys, I've talked 15 minutes on this. Basically, I think it's interesting. I think it's kind of cool that Mattel is, and Hot Wheels specifically, is going into this scale. They're experimenting with it. I'm not going to collect it. I'm going to be very interested watching it. I'll definitely, if I get my hands on cars, I'll definitely show them, talk through them. Do I hate this line? No, but I don't have any credibility to say whether I really hate it or not, because I'm just not going to collect it, mainly based on the scale. Everything after that, I'd have to really form those opinions. Drop your comments. I want to know what you guys think about this. If you hate them, tell me you hate them. If you think they're junk, then tell me you think they're junk. Give me some reasons, as opposed to just saying Hot Wheels is dumb for charging 25 bucks. We'll talk through it. For me, the Elite 64, which has garnered some mixed opinions, I'm more about this. You can see the personality coming through on some of these. Some of them will be exact replicas. Others will be like this Mustang that's coming out soon, modified, different. There's pieces, there's unique pieces to it, but it also has the unique wheels, belt for each casting. This one I'm more interested in, this kind of line, the Elite 64, and I'm curious to see where this goes as they move forward. And we'll talk more about that line as we get more cars coming out. Tell me what you think. In on 143, out. Let's get a conversation going. We'll talk about this more. Thanks, everybody. Bye.